Greetings everyone, it's time to connect with Caroline again. I just wanted to continue from where I left off yesterday, talking about back to school and how every parent, families are out there making sure that they connect with each other, bond with each other, because kids are going to be going back to school. So there will be lots of separation, spending time away from family members. My main concern is when it's getting to this time of the year when kids are supposed to go to school. Some kids sometimes make decisions that they would like to take a year off, and I know it's a really difficult decision to make, because sometimes the kids always expect that the parents are going to be on their side. But I'm going to talk from a very personal perspective. I remember when I was in college. When I graduated college, I had that zeal, that passion to continue with my studies. But something happened that made me to take a year off, and I regret it to date. As a student, the energy is always there for you to go to school. When you go to university, you continue with that energy. When you take a year off, it just introduces you to another kind of lifestyle, because when you start making money, that's where the trick is. When you start making money, it's very, very difficult to make that decision to return to school. So I'm just sharing that with you guys, that I know a lot of high school students always like to say, well, mom, I'm taking a year off. But you have to, as a parent, you have to sit with your children and explain to them the benefits of completing your education, completing your studies ahead of time. And then you can take the entire, how many years, whatever, you can take those years off and relax, because at the time you know that you're already done with school. We have to be knowledgeable, or we have to make sure that we provide to our kids the tools that they will be needing in order to focus in school. And you have to touch so many parts. You have to talk to them about the friends that they make. You have to encourage them to introduce their friends to you. You don't want your children hanging out with friends and you don't even know them. You don't even know their families. So when your child is not at home, you don't even know who to call. You don't know where to ask questions. So encourage them to talk to you about the friends that they make, because it gives you some kind of satisfaction that if you don't see your kid, take for example, your child is supposed to be at home every day after school. You already have, or you're already familiar with the routine from school, and they usually arrive home, let's say, this is an example, let's say 4 p.m. and one day it's 5 p.m., 6 p.m. and you can't get hold of your child. You should be able to call a friend. So always try to encourage them to introduce some of their friends to you. Secondly, you have to talk to them on how to behave in school as well. Caution them, guide them on how to react to certain circumstances that happen in school when they are with friends. Doctrine them on how they behave in school as well. They have to be very respectful to the teachers who teach them. They have to pay attention to their studies. Talk to your children about bullying. If they are facing any form of bullying in school, encourage them to talk to their teachers. Encourage them to talk to you as well. And also teach them how to manage those kind of circumstances in school. They may see another student who is going through bullying. They should be able to speak up. So talk to them on how to speak up as well, because it really helps a lot, because it teaches other children how to behave when they see things like that. So for those students who just graduated high school and they're thinking of going to college, there are resources for you. There are resources for you. If you need any assistance, go online. There's Google. Ask those questions. The easiest tool that I always encourage to use, I always say, Google has all the answers. All you need to do, Google your question and you will find answers. There are resources around you. Ask questions, because you can have financial support from schools, you can have financial support from the government. Even with OSAP, although it's a government loan, you can still apply for OSAP and then decide to take just the scholarship part of it. So if you don't want to owe any student, you can still take the grant part of the OSAP. So you have to apply for the OSAP, and when it's being approved, you accept just the grant part of it. That way you don't have to owe the government anything. So there are resources. Ask questions and you will find them. When you are in school as well, take the opportunity. There are so many scholarships. If you are involved in community activities, you are involved in sporting activities in school, you have access to so many resources. If you are facing any kind of barrier, any disabilities, you have so many resources in terms of scholarships. All you need to do, you have to be able to have that patience to sit down and write your story, because that is what gives you those scholarships. When I was in college, this is not a joke. When I was in college, I was able to sit down and apply for grants upon grants upon grants upon scholarships, and that landed me more than $15,000 in scholarships. So imagine $15,000 if you were to go to school for a 2-3 year program that pays your tuition. So never say, oh my goodness, they are asking so many questions, they want me to write a story, they want me to talk about my volunteer history. Definitely that's what they want to hear about. Many people, because of that clause that says write a story about yourself, write about your volunteer history, many people get discouraged and they do not do it. And guess what? There's a lot of money hanging somewhere because people get scared of writing these stories. So when you do it, you're giving yourself an opportunity to earn this money and pay your tuition. Trust me, if you have questions and you want to fill out these applications, you want to respond to these questions, there are resource centers that are ready and willing to assist you with that. There are resources, so tap from those resources, because you want to leave school knowing that you gave yourself all that it took for you to be able to graduate with less loan or no loans at all. Remember, taking a year off is not an option. Make sure that you are going to school back to back, and finish in time, and then you can take the rest of your life off. While you're working, you can be taking your vacation and just living your life. Okay, so don't get discouraged or don't get distracted by the 1 year off because you want to work. Definitely, if you really want to be doing something, or if you really want to be working, you can still do your part-time while in school. You can be doing your 2, 3, 4 hours while in school and still gather the skills that you feel like maybe you're missing while you're not working. And for those communities or those countries who do not have the resources that I just explained, I'm talking about the scholarships and the grants. For those communities who don't have these resources, I know with the current pandemic, it's being a challenge, or it's going to be a challenge for these communities to go back to school, and maybe other circumstances as well. It could be political, it could be whatever, anything that's happening. For those families or those communities or those countries that will not have these resources to go back to school, I will say that for the parents, do not relent your efforts. You can do your best from home by teaching your children. It could be, if you have a community library in the area, you can visit these libraries and borrow some books and encourage your children to read. At least if they are reading, they can at least keep some of the knowledge that they are losing because they're not in school. So continue to encourage your children. Remember, they are looking up to you. It's whatever you tell them that they're going to believe. It's whatever you tell them, that's what they know. So you have to continue to instill in them that education is key. So whatever it takes, even if it means going back to their old books that they already had or they've already used, just to keep their brain working. Keeping the brain busy at least will enable them to not forget the things that they've already learned in school. I know it can be very, very hard, but we have to create that time to connect with those children. A lot of families are struggling, but still find some time in the evening to follow up with these children. It is a challenging moment for the parents, again, like I said, because back to school, it's when the parents will have to spend money preparing the children for school. For third world countries, I know it can be hard, because I know some families have 3, 4, 5, 6 children, and all of them have to go back to school, and you have to prepare all these kids, uniforms, books, and everything, because some of these resources are not available in the area. It can be a challenge, but one step at a time, because every child deserves to be educated. Every child has a right to education. So I encourage all those parents. It could be difficult, it could be very hard. Try your best to make sure that you are sending these children to school. My heart goes out especially to the young children. Let us engage them in programs, because these are the things that will get them focused and not be distracted by the harsh, the difficult circumstances, the difficult times that they are living in. Children of today are the leaders of tomorrow. So you don't know. If you are depriving your child from school, you don't know, maybe you are depriving the future president of your country from school. If you are depriving your girls from school, you may be depriving the future ministers from going to school. Try your best, send them to school. I wish all the parents good luck in preparing their children to school. No child should be left behind. Thank you very much, and have a blessed, beautiful back to school.